heads up. So I'll be aware. Tomorrow is the due date for Program 3. Remember that tomorrow's lab class is optional. So if you have already completed Program 3, you do not have to come. But please come if you would like help with Program 3. Just also a heads up that there is a quiz coming on Friday. And then next week is a very busy week indeed, as we have lab test 2 on the 14th and then test 2 on the 17th. Now, notice that there is a Program 4 also due there. I felt that was a little bit too rough, and we took a vote in the 10 a.m. class, and the vote was if you do turn in Program 4 on this date, you get 2 points of extra credit. Otherwise, it's moved back to the Saturday of spring break. So to give you some time to work on it. By the way, just a heads up, Program 4 is actually the easiest of the programs. So it's not as bad as you might think. Yes, sir?
What if I turned in the program before Saturday, where it's due, and get the 2 points extra credit, but I only did the 80%, then later I finished 100%
No.
and submitted it?
No.
Okay.
I'm taking the last date of your final submission.
You'll at least get 2 points.
Okay, so everybody, any questions about that? So 2 points of extra credit if you turn it in on the 18th. Otherwise, turn it in on the 25th, and there won't be any points deducted. All right, for those of you that like extra credit and would like some extra credit at this point this semester, this Saturday there is a programming contest that will go from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. And there is a problem in the contest that was written specifically by me for the 110 students. So there is at least one problem that all of you should be able to solve. The contest is a little bit odd. So what do the contests look like? You know the little practice problems that we've been giving you all semester that have like a description of a problem, some sample input and some sample output? A programming contest is literally just a little book of those, and the idea is that you solve as many as you can during the 3-hour time limit. And so you can get up to 5 points of extra credit for each one that you solve. Yes, you do have to solve it. That is the point. One thing that was asked is, how do I know if I want to do this or not? There is a practice session that starts at 8 a.m. on Saturday. You are more than welcome to show up to the practice session, do the practice problem, and see if you enjoy this or not. And if you absolutely hate it, just grab a donut and some orange juice and leave.
Wait, are we serious about the donut and orange juice?
Yes, there will be breakfast, and there will also be lunch provided for everyone that stays the entire time.
Oh, what's for lunch?
The lunch is roast beef croissants.
I might be coming. Can I get extra credit for attending the
No.
Saturday? And I have to actually solve that.
Okay, so if you would like to participate, how do you participate? If you go to Discord, there is a sign-up link in the main channel. All you got to do is just give us your name, your email address, and then answer a question. That is all. And then show up on Saturday at 8 a.m.
So
This Saturday, the 11th at 8 a.m. And like I said, if you find out that you hate this and don't want to do it, just leave the practice contest with your donut and orange juice and go do something else, including go back to bed.
What happens if you show up at 8 o'clock, grab a donut and orange juice?
I mean, technically, you're probably going to get Dr. Nisley giving you a very disappointed stare, but nothing else will happen.
We'll have like 8 guys show up, just take a donut.
If you are going to do that, make sure that you do sign up so that we do buy enough donuts for you. No. If you show up without signing up, there will not be a donut for you. And Dr. Nisley will very sternly chastise you for not signing up and then just showing up anyway. So, all right, fair enough. So do remember that there is the Program 3 help session tomorrow for those of you that need it. There is a quiz Friday. The programming contest is this Saturday. Then we have lab test 2, test 2, and then you can turn in Program 4 either on the 18th or the 25th. So those are all the announcements I have for you for the next 2 weeks. Yes, sir.
Just to confirm, tomorrow's lab.
No, there is no lab due tomorrow. The lab is due on the 14th instead. So lab 6 is due the 14th. Tomorrow is strictly program 3.
Are you required to do that if you haven't?
If you have already turned in program 3, you may skip. All right, good. Other questions? All right, well, then it is time on...
We didn't name, that's me.
It's supposed to be Nick.
Yeah.
We did name
It's
him.
the other-
yeah, sorry. My apologies. So, Mr. Nick, the former engineer,
Yeah.
what does that mean?
Former engineer.
Is there some in here who are still engineers, and some who didn't make it?
Whoa. Wow. That's
Oh.
Smart.
It's not we didn't make it, we just chose a better
Yeah, they're
option.
actually the smart ones. They're the smart
I
ones.
have free time now.
I see. So you have decided that you do not want to do the engineering major and have abandoned ship?
Yeah, well, they joined another.
Okay. All right, well, I apologize to hear that. So you enjoy repairing consoles. Which types of consoles do you like to repair, and can I solicit your services?
I mean,
Wait, what console do you
let's
have, bro?
see. I've done a lot
It's
of
not me.
handhelds, a lot of the DS's, 3DS's,
Oh.
and a lot of controllers lately because, yeah, they're
Okay.
expensive.
My brother's PS4 is dead.
Give it to me. I got this.
He did fix my Xbox
I got this.
2 weeks ago.
Okay.
That's PS4 system.
Okay, well then I will ask my brother and see if he would like it repaired, and if so, I will bring it to you. You also got into working into car stereos. Any particular type of stereo?
It's just like normal Walmart ones or like any that I find just.
Oh, those are
go up after
boring.
They've been like cut, so there's no adapters doing it wire by wire.
Nah, you got to get into the ones where like you're putting like CarPlay into an old car. Those are way more fun.
Well, it's not CarPlay, but that's like what? It's like putting an actual modern day into like a '79 car.
Yeah, those are yeah that's where the fun stuff happens.
Yes.
All right, cool. And then you also have a gift for us. I'm assuming this is not SpongeBob.
It's not SpongeBob.
Okay. Well, if you guys would like to go and watch another movie, here you go.
They just skip to like halfway through, so like they know which one.
Oh
This could be dangerous.
no. Oh,
That's the new one.
What is this? Oh. Oh, you okay? So the brand new movie is okay. I'm saying nothing.
Hey, that's fine. Don't worry, it's legally applicable.
All right. Well, anyway, so if you guys want to go watch a movie, knock yourself out. All right. So let's go ahead and talk about the practice problem for today, and then we'll move on. By the way, the last practice problem of the semester is this Wednesday. Remember, the practice problems are not due until the end of the semester, but the last one is actually this Wednesday. So if you want on the scoreboard, make sure you turn that one in.
Does the scoreboard mean anything, or is it just
No, the scoreboard is literally bragging rights. All right, so today's problem, the idea is that we're trying to handle exceptions that could occur. And if you look down here, we have this input format where we say that we're going to have 3 different test cases, and then we're going to read in a 1 and a 0, a 2 and a dollar sign, a 3 and a 1, and then here's the output that we would like for this. I'm just going to copy these error messages just to kind of help me out so I don't have to type them later. Let's go do the problem. Oh. Yes, we'll get to ice cream flavors momentarily. Have no fear. Cookies and cream.
That's the best ice cream.
All right, so I first need to get the number of cases that we're going to read in. So Mr. Bryson, we'll start in the middle today. How do I get the number of cases I'm going to read in?
Number of cases?
Yes, so we have the number of cases. Let's just murder this. Death. Okay, I want to get the number of cases that I have, so the number of things I have to read.
Okay, so like an error message. Or...
No, I just want to read this first number and get the number of cases I have to handle.
Oh, so that would be 3?
Yes.
You could- okay.
So how would I
Oh,
get
so
that?
there's 0 through 9 cases, is that what you're...
No, I just want to. I'm literally asking that, like how many how do I read how many cases we have? So I need to repeat a block of code a certain number of times. That many times. There you go. For loop. So for I in range of cases. Now inside is where things get tricky. I need to read two numbers at the same time and then try to convert them to numbers. Well, we can read those two numbers together, right? How can I isolate them into two different numbers? Good, split on space. So that's A and B. The problem is they're not currently numbers. How can I convert them to numbers? I want to convert both of them at the same time, though, not separately.
In both of them at the same time.
No. So split returns a list, right? Did we learn about something that could transform a list on Friday? Yes. List comprehensions. So remember, this is completely legal in Python. So that is how you would get both A and B to be transformed into integers. Is that legal? Yeah, that's completely fine. Now that could crash because we might read in some dollar signs, so we're going to put that into a try except block. There's two different exceptions that we have to handle according to the instructions. We have to handle value error, and we have to also handle zero division errors as well. So let's handle A and B as if they actually do work. So we'll do just A divide B. For the zero division error, I'm going to cheat because I don't feel like typing all this out. I'm just going to copy paste. For the value error, it's very similar. The idea here, though, is that we need to include the character that caused the problem, and we can actually get that by just doing E. You know, no real scary hijinks there. And if I could spell, everything would be much better. And that's roughly what we need to do. So read both of the numbers, split on space, convert them both to integers, and then attempt to divide them. If the conversion to integer fails, let's print an error message. If the division fails, let's print a message. So let's go over here and try it, shall we? So downloads, Python 3 exception.py. We have three cases. The first is 1 divided by 0. Did that work?
Nope.
Yes.
Oh.
We were supposed to print an error message. Behold, we were supposed to print an error message. Did we print an error message?
Yes.
Yes.
Beautiful. So it did work. How about 2 divided by dollar sign? Did that work?
Yep.
Do we have the little character that caused the problem in the error message?
Yes.
Yep.
Yes. Exactly like we were supposed to have here. And then the final thing was 3 divided by 1, I believe. Did that work?
Yep.
Yes. So that is indeed the solution to our little exception problem for today. Are there any questions about this little solution before I jump into today's lecture? Going once, going twice. All right, nothing. All right, so just to make sure everybody got everything, we've covered the problem for today, we've covered the quiz, and I gave you guys a slew of announcements. If you want to sign up for the contest, where do you go? Good. And are you required to attend lab tomorrow?
No.
No. Okay, good. Everybody apparently has at least got the most important pieces. All right, let's move over. All right, it is time to talk about a new thing, because why not? We always talk about new things in class, right? Not always. Sometimes we practice, but today is a new thing. It is time to learn about a new type of container, and that container type is going to be a dictionary. The other container types that we've learned about thus far were lists and tuples. So dictionaries are a thing very similar to lists and tuples, but they do behave slightly differently. So for example, to index into a list, what do we need to index into a list? Mr. Nick.
To index into a list, you would need the inputs to it.
Okay, and those inputs would be what?
It would be strings or integers.
Okay, and we want to index into it, so that's the square brackets. What goes inside the square brackets?
The variables.
Numbers. So we index by number. What do I mean by that? If you've got a list like X and you want the first element, you do X sub 0, right? So we index by number. Are lists mutable or immutable? They're mutable. Yeah, lists are mutable. Tuples. How do you index into a tuple? So if I want the second element in a tuple, how do I get it? No. I want the second element of a tuple. How do I index into it? Square brackets. And I put what inside the square brackets? A number or an integer, right? So it's also an index by number. And these are mutable or immutable? All right, to make a list, what do I need? I need square brackets. To make a tuple, what do I need? Parentheses. All right, behold, how does a dictionary fit into all this? A dictionary is a mutable, so it's like a list, key value pair. Now, the key value thing is probably a little bit confusing to start off with. Don't worry, we'll take a look at what that means. Dictionaries are made with curly braces. So another piece of notation in Python. They're made with curly braces. And the idea with the dictionary is that we have two things that we want to associate together. These are indexed by any immutable data type. In other words, what are some things that we can use as an index into a dictionary? What are some things that are immutable in Python? Mr. Nick. No, Nate. Sorry, Mr. Nate. I picked on Nick already. What is something in Python that's immutable? Okay, tuples can be a key to a dictionary or an index into a dictionary. Mr. Jonathan. We have two Jonathans. Mr. Jonathan, the ladder. Since you are in a further back row.
Oh, okay.
You want to be
Yeah, you want to be the ladder? Like, what?
So what is something in Python that's immutable that we've seen? Tuples are immutable. Yes, variables are mutable, so that's not allowed. Think of data types, not variables. What data types have we seen that are immutable? Good. Integers and floats are immutable. That's fine. Mr. Gabriel, continue our thing here. There's two more things that we've seen so far that are immutable. Strings are immutable. You are correct. And Mr. Zirkle, over to you. Bools. Bools are technically immutable. So let's make, inside the square brackets, we can do things just like we do with a list and a tuple where we can put multiple things separated by commas, but they do have to come in pairs. There is the key, and then there is the value, separated by a colon, of course. All right, let's make a dictionary. All right, so here we go. Let's go into interactive mode right quick. So Python 3. So let's see. Let's grab some favorite foods. So, Mr. Jonah, favorite food. Okay, what kind of pizza? Pineapple pizza.
Well, he is from Florida, so it makes sense.
All right, Mr. Aiden, favorite food. Okay, a burrito. I don't know how to spell that. Burrito. Good enough. Mr. Jonathan, the former.
Macaroni and cheese.
Okay, mac and cheese. Mr. Bryson. Okay. Miss Joanna, favorite food.
Chicken sandwich.
Okay, chicken. Sand. And then one more, Miss Dorothy. Cheesecake. All right, Miss Dorothy, you and I need to go make a run to Harris Teeter and get some of their sour cheesecake. It's delicious.
Sour cheesecake? Like, is it just gonna be lime or is it just like sour?
No, it's made with ricotta cheese instead of other kind of cheese.
It's like sourdough, but with
It's
cheesecake.
it is a cheesecake that's very fluffy, not super sweet, has a little bit of a sour aftertaste. It's actually really good. Particularly if you put like syrup, like cherry or chocolate syrup on top of it, it's delicious. Okay, so how do we get something in the dictionary? You index with the key. So if we wanted to get, for example, Mr. Bryson's favorite food, we put the key Bryson and that will return the value. So remember, this is an association. So we're associating a key and a value together intrinsically. Now, in order to get something by value, there's not really a good way to do that without a for loop. Can we iterate over a dictionary? Yes, we can. By default, though, what are we going to iterate over, the keys or the values? So the things before the colons or the thing after the colon? The thing before, actually. By default, dictionaries iterate over keys and not values. Now, you can iterate over the values if you really want to. That's not a problem. Dictionaries do allow that. But you do have to call the .values method on your dictionary. And that will allow you to iterate over the values rather than the keys. In general, though, both of these types of for loops are pretty not that useful, because you really need the key and the value together because they match up with one another. That's why there is a special version of a for loop that we haven't seen before that allows you to iterate over both at once. And then we can get both the key and the value at the same time. Now notice that in order to do this, we have to do .items, and then we can get both the key and the value pair and access them both in the same iteration of the for loop. If you need to find something by value, this is the way to do it. You can iterate over the items and use an if statement to find the correct value that you're looking for, and then print the key that you found it under. So this association is very nice. All right, so how do you put something into a dictionary? For lists, how do you put something into a list? There's an append method. There is no append method for a dictionary. So for example, let's do Mrs. Funderburk. Mrs. Funderburk, what's your favorite food? I think that's how you spell that. To put something into, oh wait, let me jump that up for you guys. To put something into a dictionary, the idea is that you put a key that does not exist along with a value, and then that will add something to the dictionary. This is also how you update things in the dictionary as well. So you can just put the key. If the key doesn't exist, it will get automatically inserted with no difference. How do you remove something from the dictionary? Mr. Brown, please elect someone to evict.
Let us elect. Which one?
He said Jonah, I believe,
Oh,
not Jonathan.
Well, I'm not even in there, so.
So to evict someone from the dictionary, it's a little bit different. There is a remove method on lists. There's not really a remove method on dictionaries. Instead, you use the syntax that looks like this. So del followed by the dictionary and then the key that you wish to remove, and then that will actually remove it from the dictionary. Dictionaries also have a clear method that will clear everything out of the dictionary itself. All right, now we can also, let's go ahead and put our giant dictionary back if we can. You can also check to see if a key is present in the dictionary. So for example, we can ask, is Jonah in the dictionary? So is Jonah in foods? And he is. And then we can also ask, for example, if Nick is in foods, and he is not. Don't worry, we will get to include you in just a moment. So these are all just various things that work on dictionaries. Any questions? Mr. Gabriel.
If I want to look for values in foods, do I have to say value in foods dot value? Or
Yes, if you want to check to see if a value is there, so for example, if we wanted to do burrito, we can say, is burrito in foods.values? So you can just use the dot values method and then check for the existence of a value. By default, it does look for keys though. Good. Other questions about dictionaries? What notation do we use to make a dictionary? Key colon value in curly braces. So good. Joanna and Gabriel got the right answer together. So key colon value in curly braces. And are dictionaries mutable? Yes, dictionaries are mutable. All right, let's end this little piece. It's time to talk about something new. Yes. Well, technically it kind of goes along the same lines of what we're doing. We're just going to do something else. But we will get back to dictionaries momentarily. CSV files. What is a CSV file? Yes, how many of you love Excel? On Wednesday of this week, we're going to use Python and Excel together because you can code in Python using Excel. It's actually really beautiful and just makes your heart happy. But CSV files are not quite that. What is a CSV file? A CSV file is called a comma-separated value file. We did something very similar to this on Friday where I got your favorite animals and we put them into a file separated with spaces. A comma-separated value file is the exact same thing, but there's typically a comma that's used as the separator rather than a space, which makes things a little bit easier. So let's make favorite ice cream flavors. So favorite ice cream .csv. Typically the first row in a CSV file is going to be what we call the header row. It's going to contain the name of the columns. So I have a person's name and their favorite flavor. All right, so let's start on the edge. So Mr. Nate. Superman. Mr. Nick.
It is an ice cream. Butterscotch.
Okay, butterscotch. Mr. Phillip. Okay. Mr. Brown. All right. Mr. Gabriel. Mr. Jonathan the Ladder. All right, Mr. Jonah. It could be one up there already too. All right, Mr. Aiden. That's pretty fancy. All right, Mr. Jonathan the Former.
Cookies and cream.
We have no duplicate so far. That's bad. We'll have to make up a student if we don't get one. Mr. Bryson.
Reese's.
All right, Miss Dorothy. Oreo. Miss Joanna. Peach. All right, and then Mrs. Funderburk. What? Black walnut. Okay, that is not what I heard. All right, we're going to make up a person. That's okay. We're going to make up Bob, and Bob likes vanilla. That may have been on purpose. Correct. We have duplicated Mr. Robert, and we now have his clone, who attends class on his behalf as well. Okay, so we need to read this file, right? How did we read this file on Friday? So let's just make a little reader.py. I need to read the file. How do I do it? Okay, with open, we're going to have a favorite ice cream .csv. What mode should I open this in? Good, read. All right, I want to read the entire file. How do I do it? Well, we can do read lines, right? That's fine, and we can print the content. So how does that look? Is that going to get us anywhere close to what we need? To some extent, yes. I mean, we have all the ice cream, we have all the lines of the file, right? There's new lines, though. We have to separate, we have to split on commas. That sounds like a mess, right? Let's make it easy. There's a CSV library in Python for reading CSV files. So let's use that. In order to do this, we have to make what's called a CSV reader that takes in a file that has been opened. This will take care of splitting the file by line and by comma for us. So meaning that if we do for line in reader, we can literally just print that and we'll get each line individually. Look at that. So much nicer than the mess on Friday. It even took care of like taking and joining up the different things together for us after the splitting. Like it just handled everything. We didn't have to do hardly anything at all. So if I wanted to count the number of times that a person appears, or let's count the number of times that ice cream appears in this file and find the biggest one, which is obviously vanilla because we forced it to be vanilla. There's a slight problem though. Is there a line here that doesn't have an actual person and ice cream? Yeah, the first one, the header row, right? This is not a name and an ice cream flavor. How can we skip that one? Plus one won't help us out at all, sadly. Let's have a number to skip. So we'll have that we're going to skip one line, and we're going to say if skip is greater than 0, skip minus equals 1, and then the word continue. What does continue do in Python? Good, Mr. Jonah is correct. The way continue works is this will cause the for loop to go immediately to the next entry. So it won't continue executing any of the for loop. It'll just jump straight to the next entry in the list or whatever we're iterating over. So for example, did that get rid of that first pesky line? Although, you know, here we're going to have to use like this list 1, this list 2. We're going to have to index into this list very nastily. It would be really nice if there was a structure in Python that could let us associate a key and a value together. Do we happen to know if there's a thing for that?
Oh no, dictionaries.
Yeah, dictionaries. Not libraries. I was about to say, what in the world? We just literally talked about this and you're already calling them the wrong name. All right. In Python, there is also a regular CSV reader, but there's also a reader that uses the header row to create dictionaries of each line instead, and those are actually quite a bit nicer to deal with. Because now we can just index into the dictionary with favorite flavor and name, and we get exactly what we want without having to know the position of the item in the line. All right, so I want to count favorite ice cream flavors. How do I do it? So if I want to count the number of times that vanilla occurs and Moose Tracks occurs, if I want to count the number of times that every ice cream flavor occurs, how do I do it?
Count function?
That's not going to work, sadly, at least for our purposes. There's a much easier way. What did we learn about at the beginning of class? Dictionaries. Dictionaries are good for reading CSV files with, but they're also used for something called grouping. So we can use dictionaries to group, and what we'll do is we'll create a dictionary called counter that's going to allow us to count the number of times that something appears in the dictionary. All right, so how do we do this? This is going to look a little bit weird, so let's get started. First of all, how do I get the ice cream flavor? Flavor equals what? This is a dictionary. How do I index into the dictionary to get the ice cream flavor? Okay. We're going to do line equals favorite flavor. How do I determine if that is already in the counter dictionary or not? if flavor in counter, since counter is the thing. So I'm trying to count ice cream flavors. If an ice cream flavor is brand new, this is the first time we found that ice cream flavor, that's going to have a count of 1. How should I put that into counter? Mr. Bryson. I need to put the new ice cream flavor into the counter dictionary with a count of 1.
Would it be counter plus equals 1?
Close. Counter, we have to put the ice cream flavor, and then we're just going to say equals 1. So we're going to associate the ice cream flavor with the value 1, which is the number of times that we found it. All right, if we are encountering an ice cream flavor for the second, or the third, or the fourth, or the 5th time, how do we handle it? Mr. Bryson, give us a new victim.
Jonathan the former.
Mr. Jonathan the former. We have encountered an ice cream flavor for the second, or the third, or the 4th, or the 5th time because it's already in the dictionary. How do we update the count to be the right number?
Maybe we would add it by 1.
Good.
Or add by whatever the value is. By 1.
Is this anywhere remotely close to correct? Yeah. Notice that we have vanilla somewhere in here with 2. This pattern that you see here is a very common pattern where you have a CSV file or an Excel file and you want to count the number of occurrences of something in the file. So you open it using the dictionary reader, which allows you to grab things no matter its position in the file, and then you grab the column you want to count and you use a dictionary to count it, with the idea being that if the flavor is in the counter, we're going to increment the counter. Otherwise, we're going to set the counter equal to 1. So, questions so far? Yes, sir.
Why are we setting the counter equal to 1 if it doesn't find?
So the idea here is that we've encountered the ice cream for the first time, and when you put something into a dictionary, you need a key and a value. So we have to put something for the value, and since we're trying to count something, I put 1 since we've encountered it 1 time. Good. Other questions? Like I said, this is a very common pattern. You're going to see it for the next 3 class periods. Yes?
What exactly is, I hate to delve, but what exactly is line? I'm a little confused about where line comes in.
Line is a line from the CSV file. In this case, line is going to be a dictionary containing Nate and Superman or Nick and Butterscotch. We're just going to read down the CSV file line by line, and then the CSV reader will convert that to a dictionary. So line is essentially a line from the file being represented as a dictionary. So if we go print that, you can actually kind of see that here. So notice that we're getting each line of the file just represented as a dictionary.
So that's not like a variable we're creating, that's part of the .csv.
So we chose the name line, but yes, the thing is coming from the CSV reader itself.
So line doesn't matter, you can call it
Yeah.
thread.
I just called it line to represent the fact that it's a line from the file. Good. Other questions? All right. Well, remember, dictionaries are made with which notation? Curly braces, and you separate the key and the value with? Good. A colon. All right. So, if there are no further questions, you ladies and gentlemen have a great day. We will see some of you tomorrow in lab, and I guess I'll see the rest of you Wednesday. So yeah, if you need help on program 3, come tomorrow. If you don't need help on program 3, then sleep or do something else with your time.